First story. My ignorant girlfriend said Holocaust is fake, and I'm a fool to believe that. Now I'm thinking of ending our relationship. The title is as simple as it sounds. My girlfriend doesn't believe that the Holocaust actually happened. She's of the belief that it was all a liberal, socialist piece of propaganda coordinated by FDR and his administration in order to make us feel sorry for Jews. She claims that FDR founded the alt left, and his influence is slowly leading to Jews taking over our country to this day. So this is some pretty white nationalist type of thinking. No, I care about my girlfriend. But this revelation is really changing my perspective on her. We'd formed such a healthy relationship before all of this. Our 1-year anniversary is coming up in October. But I really don't know where to go with the revelation that she believes these things. Do I simply ignore these beliefs and continue going strong with our relationship? Or is it time to cut ties? Edit. I've officially broken up with her. Relevant comment. Pinworm. Jew here. I really wish I was part of this conspiracy to take over the world. Look, it's one thing to be transgressive and question an official version of events. Whether it's the story of Thanksgiving, the space race, Jackie Robinson, or whatever, a little research could reveal that these historical events are much more complicated and grey than one could imagine. It's another thing to flat out deny countless photos and footage, writings, interviews, trials of something the whole world accepts as truth, of something where survivors are still alive, something where the message is never again. Your girlfriend's beliefs are objectively wrong. It's not like a disagreement over the existence of God, the zodiacs, or whatever. It's about dangerous ideas that invalidate suffering. Accepting her misguided beliefs reflects poorly on you. It means you're happy to enable anti-Semitism and fascist values because your D is getting wet. Where are your values? You can try to change her mind by taking her to a Holocaust museum. Or watch Schindler's List, The Pianist, or something. The message is more than just Jews. It's about any group scapegoated, divided, and hated. If the message isn't clear, then your girlfriend is objectively shy and doesn't deserve to be with a grounded and forgiving person such as yourself. Update recovered with Reddit. As of this morning, my Holocaust-denying girlfriend is officially my Holocaust-denying ex-girlfriend. It wasn't easy to do considering how I and this girl connected in the past, but it was something that I knew had to be done. Before I go into detail about the actual breakup, I want to address some of the comments from my original post regarding her other beliefs. Before I talked with her about breaking up this morning, I asked her some of her other thoughts on certain issues, one of them being the Sandy Hook shooting. She actually does believe that Adam Lanza went on a shooting spree at the school, and on the live all of those children and teachers. But she believes that he was a mere pawn in a false flag operation conducted by Hillary Clinton, Joe Biden, and the Obama family, not just Barack, but Michelle and Barack's father, who, according to her, is an undercover Kenyan warlord who's involved in some deal that makes him money at the expense of Americans losing their guns. As far as her other beliefs go, they're pretty typical far-right conspiracy. She thinks vaccines cause autism. Obama was born in Kenya. 9/11 was perpetrated by, and Hillary Clinton runs an Essex slave operation in the basement of a pizza shop. When I asked her where she gets her information, she didn't go into specifics, but all she said was a website run by true Americans. When it came to the actual breakup, I gave her an ultimatum. Either she does legitimate research on these topics and opens up her mind to real facts instead of unreliable far-right websites, or we break up. Simple as that. She immediately told me to get effed by a Jew and said that no amount of evidence would ever change her beliefs. So I blatantly told her then and there that we're breaking up, and that's that. As far as her reaction goes, she started to scrunch up her face like she was about to cry. But that look was gone and replaced by one of anger. She started telling me off for being brainwashed by our liberal media and fake news. Just typical far-right, Trump-supporting nonsense. But then she said something that actually made me laugh. She said that she was going to start writing a book about our relationship and how much of a cock I am. As soon as I stopped laughing at that response, I told her that she'd find someone else to date at the next Unite the Right rally. And I saw myself out. I know this subreddit is solely for advice, And I know that I'm not asking for any in this post, but I just thought it necessary to give an update considering how my post garnered a bigger response than I was expecting. Honestly, I knew before making the post that I was eventually going to break up with her for having such despicable beliefs. I just felt it was necessary to at least see what other people had to say about the situation. Thanks for reading, and here's hoping my next girlfriend isn't completely effing crazy. Relevant comments Mega 815. This is scary stuff. You dodged a huge bullet. But I'm confused about how she managed to seem like a normal person for close to a year. Oop replied, that baffles me as well. Like I said before, there was never anything in her family that suggested she would have this mindset. Sure, she was a Trump supporter at one point. But her liking for Trump was purely because of how often he railed against political correctness and people who are easily offended. Oop on why he didn't try to change or educate his ex with the truth. She isn't a hateful bigot. Did you miss the part where she insulted me with get EFF ed by a Jew? Or how about the part where she believes that Obama was born in Kenya? Certain beliefs I can tolerate. I'm an atheist who can tolerate dating someone with religious beliefs. I'm a liberal who can tolerate someone with moderate right-leaning views. I'm a human being who's not going to tolerate someone ignorant enough to deny the biggest crime against humanity in history. I really don't think you should be feeling sorry for her, because I honestly don't at this point. I agree that we should try to help these people, but reread this post and look at the part where she says that she refuses to change her beliefs despite the evidence. With that, she's saying that she wants to remain close-minded and keep her odious beliefs no matter what. I gave her the option to research these things with a much more open mind. That was my way of offering her help. She rejected it, and for that, I reject her. Second story. My wife wants to name our baby after her elusive ex-boyfriend, who unalived in an accident. When my wife and I met, she had broken up with her boyfriend almost a year prior. We went on a couple of dates until I noticed she slowly stopped talking to me. I found out she had gotten back with her boyfriend. We remained friendly since we would run into each other at the gym. That's how we met. A year later, they broke up. I decided to go for it again, and I asked her out. She was pretty upfront about him, and I learned that they have been off and on for almost 4 years. She left him because he started to get a use of. We got married a little over a year later. A few months later, she gets pregnant. Last week, I was sitting in the kitchen study until I heard my wife yell out, crying. I ran over to her to ask her what was wrong. She had difficulty speaking, but she eventually showed me a post on Facebook that a mutual friend between her and her ex had posted. Her ex had gotten into a motorcycle accident and had on the life. My wife was, or is, an avid motorcyclist who stopped riding once she got pregnant. She knew how passionate he was about motorcycle riding just as much as she did, and how tragic it was. I console my wife and help her get to bed, letting her know that I'm here for her. I didn't think much about the whole thing until my wife told me last night that she wants to name our baby after him. I hesitated for a bit and told her that I felt uncomfortable with it. For one, it's her ex. Second, he was a Yusuf. Why would she want to honor someone like that? My wife got pretty upset and just wouldn't hear me out on my reason. She won't talk to me at all. Am I really in the wrong here? I'm just thinking that my wife is extremely emotional at the moment since she's pregnant and trying to process her ex's passing. Any advice? TLDR. My wife's a Yusuf ex-boyfriend on Alive, and she wants to name our baby after him. I don't. Now she's mad at me. Relevant comments. You, Froggy McNasty. Okay, I'll be the arsey hole here. Is the kid yours? She's left you for him before. You got married really quickly, and she got pregnant shortly after. It doesn't exactly sound like she was over him, given her response and wanting to name the kid after him. On the not arsehole side, you are absolutely correct in not wanting to have your child named after her ex. That's an incredibly disturbing thing to have to explain, which shouldn't even be an issue in the first place. I really hope she's just in a heightened emotional state, because that is very disrespectful to you and the marriage. Oop. Yes, the kid is mine. When we started dating again, her ex moved back home to another state. We moved closer to our families too, right before we got married. Update. Hi all. Wow, so this post got a lot more traction than I expected. First of all, I want to thank all of you for your advice and for showing your concerns, not just for myself, but also for my wife. It means a lot. Now, onto the update. For Easter, we already had plans with her family to go to church and then have a BBQ at her sister's. Not wanting her family to see any tension, I saw this as a chance for her to have to speak to me. As we're getting ready for church, I tell her that we need to talk about everything now. She agreed and sat down with me. I did tell her that there is absolutely no way we're naming our baby after her ex, or any of our kids, if we have even more. She agreed and apologized for acting irrational. Also, I know a lot of you suggested that I get a paternity test. I know that I'm 100% the father. I didn't want anyone to get my anxiety up since, while it may seem rational, jumping to an extreme conclusion and making things worse. I thought it out, but I still did ask if she was still in love with her ex, and if she did cheat. She adamantly said no. She had already stopped loving him, even before they broke up. She tried to make the relationship work, but she just wasn't in love with him anymore. She described him as not being a good person at all. She apologized for making me feel that way. I told her that I understand she's going through a lot of emotions right now, and being pregnant doesn't help at all. But I had to ask why she would want to name our baby after him, even after all she had told me. She started to get choked up and was shaking. I told her that she could tell me. She confessed that when she and her ex broke up, the last thing she told him was that she wished he would fall off his bike and unalive. Also, the bike that he unalive riding on was a bike that she strongly suggested that he buy, even though it wasn't his first choice. She also talked about how accidentally getting pregnant and her ex suddenly unaliving is a lot for her to handle. She wasn't expecting to be a mum so soon, and her life is about to change when she really doesn't want it either. She talked about how she thought we'd travel and that she'd continue racing her motorcycle. No, she's not even sure if she'll be able to ride again. She actually thought she might be able to ride again once she had the baby, but her ex's passing reminded her how much of a risk it is. She doesn't want to risk her life when she has a family. She feels gutted. Regardless, she kept stressing out to me about how she wouldn't change a thing about her life now, and that she's happy to be married to me and is going to be a mom. Were the best things that have ever happened to her. Anxiety also runs in my wife's family. My wife gets intrusive thoughts about how her ex unalive too. It's so bad that she has a hard time sleeping sometimes. After discussing things, she decided that she'd be going into therapy. She has her first appointment this week. TLDR wife feels guilty about ex's unalive after persuading him to buy the motorcycle that he unalive on and telling him she wished that he'd fall off his bike and end himself. She keeps thinking about how he passed away. The wife also said that she's happy to be married and is going to be a mum. But there's a lot going on, and it's a lot. She's sad that she probably can't ride motorcycles anymore. The wife will go into therapy this week. Thank you for watching the